So something a little different today. I've got a 2D match replay of the last game that I played, which was the last video on this channel. It was myself, Skog, and Jackamak, along with a random person. Now, whilst I didn't do any kills, overall the team did very well. I got an assist and some damage. Oh, it actually shows for revives on this particular menu. I wish like revives and things like that were much more, I don't know, like counted for something, right? Anyway, maybe it should also say distance driven so you can see who. Anyway, what we're going to do is look at the 2D replay. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. One, is just fun to look at anyway, but also interesting things, the way that people move and what you see. Like when you're playing, we were in a field and it sounded like there were people from that building and people from that building. Whether they same team, were we being like just with the two teams that are going at us. That's exactly the sort of thing I would, and then we can learn from that. So we go over to the 2D replay, and I think it just starts playing. Yeah, it just starts playing. This is at 5 times speed, and you can see all the people there at the beginning flooding in and shooting left and right, and also along the flight path. And you can see us right at the very end on our own, going into the buildings. So you can see the way that, and then the zone pops in, right? And you can see people dying left, right, and center. So the early areas, especially around the flight path, mid-map, are all very popular. It dies off very much towards the end. You've got a couple of people, lone sharks over there by themselves, but you can see that now, because the zone's there, all of these people that were mid-zone are now moving across. That means this area here is going to get very, very busy. Of course, Pachinki's busy as well. And as they come in, this mass of teams that are all coming together and fighting. I mean, this red team's really spread out by the looks of it. Like, they've got one person in each of these different places. People are dying left, right, and center over here. What you don't want to be is on the edge of zone, roughly the direction where everybody's moving into that zone from. So at this point, we are looting, we're getting in cars, we're getting ready to move because the zone's there and we know we need to get in it. And that's it. You see, we're off. So we're now coming round and down to the south coast. There was somebody over here. I don't know if they shot at us or not. I can't remember. But we drove pretty quickly down and round. Oh, there we go. I think they got a hit on us. And did we ditch the vehicle here? Yeah, I think we might have ditched the vehicle or something or rolled it. I don't know. But we came down and continued moving along the south coast. Now, I'm particularly interested in the later stages. But, oh, look at that person. That person is obviously coming in on a drop. We stopped here just inside zone. There's nobody else there. So the very edge of zone at the south is extremely quiet. You see there's no teams in these on the south coast. Also, up here at Georgie Pool, there wasn't really anybody in North Georgie Pool. There was a team in the south. And the zone's coming in now. So we're going to get back in the vehicle. There we go. And start moving in. You don't want to get caught in the zone for no reason, right? If you've got a good cause to be in zone, that's fine. And here we are, just avoiding those buildings and just heading straight through zone. Now, at this point, we didn't know where we were going, and I was driving all over the place. Well, I want to be this way. I want to go that way. But we did, in the end, figure out roughly where we wanted to be, and we came up round to this observatory here. And we were getting shot from left, right, and centre, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. And now you can easily see that there's one team surrounding us, and they're converging on this place. And I was like, oh, it sounds like they're coming this way. It sounds like they're coming that way. And that's because they were actually coming from all different directions. You can see that we've got three, one left, one right, one north, and they're taking pot shots at us. Hiding above a ridge over here, both on the ridge by the looks of it. And it was difficult for us to figure out where this shot was coming from because it was coming from different ways. There we are. Somebody just got shot. They were actually quite close at one point, but we were relatively safe on the top. We got one of them and was like, we got that person that were on their own. But it turns out there were three other people very close by that were trying to figure out what to do. And then we just left. We just legged it. And we came down to the south over here. Now, you can see that this was actually a good idea. There's not a lot going on over here. There is one person on the ridge to the north. That's probably a potential place where he'd go. It looks like these guys are all going to fight him. And I just nipped over to grab a crate, and I got shot at and ran back again. And you can see that then we're quite close to one other person. And then this is where it really gets interesting, because these teams here all start fighting amongst themselves, and then there's this person down there as well. We make our way. I'm going to pause here for a second. We make our way towards the middle of the map, and we know that the buildings are hotspots. So you can see here, there's 3 different teams in this building already. It's all kicking off, and there's people in the buildings to the north. Now, at the moment, the buildings in the middle aren't occupied, which is, I think, quite rare. But if I remember correctly, we verge over to grab the crates and decide to, okay, go over near the crates. Oh, yeah, and then that guy on the bike drove over 2 of us and then got killed over in those buildings. As a general rule, like, assaulting the buildings is not a good thing to do in the late stage. Like, you see that these guys are all driving around, getting shot at by us and trying to do stuff, and we get them. They go past the buildings. All 3 sets of these buildings are kind of occupied or have had people in them recently, and everybody's converging on the area. And we're on this west side, which means that as we go in, we're probably going to end up just stood in the middle of a field, unless we like charge into a building. But at this point, our vehicle had been taken out, so we couldn't charge in with the vehicle. So people were charging in with vehicles over here. They took out that person, then they got took out by that one. Now, at the moment, right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different teams, including us. And I have a theory that there was 2 teams left and right of us towards the end. Now, these guys at the top might take each other out, so let's keep an eye on that as we go forward. So definitely shots going on there. This is us going in at the main team. Yeah, 1 guy at the top there. Now we're getting shot at. Now this is what I remember now. I'm further back at the moment, but I'm going to be joining them. We were getting shot from the buildings in front, on the left and right. And what I didn't know is how many people were there. And we can see that now. There were 3 people in 1 set of buildings, and there was 1 person coming from the other set of buildings. Now, if I remember correctly, we got 1 of these guys in the 3. Let's find out. Oh, and then this other person comes flying in, and Jack and Mac takes them out. Now, there is only a few of us left, and as we creep towards the end, we start pushing the buildings, trying to not get shot left and right. I can't zoom any more than this, which is unfortunate. And I think we managed to take another one. I go down, 2 other teammates go down, and this is it now. This is the final state. This is the final play. And what you've got here is you've got Jack and Mac going in with the rest of the squad dead. We've got this lone soldier on the right, and he's got 2 people on the left. And one of them, I think, was hiding in the bathroom, and one of them was either upstairs or somewhere else, maybe round the corner in the bathroom, I'm not sure. And at this stage, because the zone is further back, Jack and Mac could have just like stayed down the side of the building and stayed quiet, because these 2 guys have got to come together anyway. They would fight each other. So at this point, we thought there was us and 2 teams, but we didn't know that for sure, because the numbers, like it's Jack and Mac, which is 1 person, and then 3 more people, which could be 1 team. But I could have sworn they were in 2 different places, and it felt like 2 different teams. And now, for the first time, that theory is confirmed. So Jack and Mac engages the team rather than laying low. Both options are viable, but as he engages them, he then gets snuck up on by the 3rd party. So he goes up against the building, the zone starts moving, he engages one of the guys and gets done in by somebody in that group, and then the final 2 get the last guy. So from this replay, we can see that the overall movement was good, and my suspicions about where we were getting shot from and the groupings was right on this occasion. It's not always right, but it was a fun game, and we did come 3rd, which is not too bad. And hopefully I will review a few more of these and get some good ideas about our movement and stuff, and we'll get some strategies going forward to hopefully win more in future. So let's call it there, I think. Should we tell you what? No, we'll go back and we'll look at another one. We'll go look at another one. We had a 1st place recently. We've had a 5th as well. Let's have a look at the 5th, because that might be interesting to see like how we failed on that final point. So again, analysing what's going on here. Quite a lot of teams dropping in and around at the beginning of the flight path, going left and right, going left and right. They don't tend to drop right under unless you're in the midsection. And again, we go right towards the end. We went out to this town. There's people around these villages, and you can see now that the zone is in here. This is a relatively unfortunate zone for us because the zone kind of covers the beginning and mid of the flight path. It's the worst zone for somebody who's gone to the end of the flight path because the entire zone is just flooded with teams spread all over the place. Now, if the zone was over here, you know that most people, right, where they are now, would be migrating northwest up to that zone, so they'd all be approaching in via the northwest, which is where the hot zone at the edge of the zone would be. So from where we are, we could go around the back of the map and get right at the top, which is less likely to be busy, and you can approach from the other way. But this is a bad zone for us. I think we make relatively good meat of it. So here we go. So this is me and 3 randos. This one. Luckily, all the randos dropped in and around where I was. This guy seems to be quite near some other people, but they seem to be leaving. We did some looting, and then we started moving. You can see all the teams are starting to migrate towards zone. They're all moving across. This edge of the zone, along the flight path there, is going to become another hot point. Obviously, you've got hot points already around some of the major towns. School, Pochinki again, the south coast, because of the way the flight path went this time. And this is obviously a zone that you want to try and avoid, which is why I said, oh yeah, go down the coast road. So if we pause here at the moment, yes, it's busy down here, but this coast road is just completely empty on the side of the coast. People just migrate straight in to zone and get that busy area. Now, when you get into zone, it's obviously going to be a pain, but to get round and in, yeah, I mean, the other option could have been to go around the top. Now that there's a mountain in the way, there's not good roads. Maybe you could have taken this main road if you could have floored it through the town, just under shooting range, and then come in kind of like near ruins or something. And you can see that this side of the map is starting to get heavy. This is not so much. Let's push forward. And you can see that there's a lot of shooting and fighting going on around here. Now, if I remember correctly, we don't take the coast road, and we go straight through. So we try and get in and around Mansion. The terrain around Mansion can be quite bad to drive around. We managed to get past most of these places and avoid them, and then we come up to Shelter, which was weird because there was another team right there that we didn't see on the way in, and we just went straight in. And that team then came inside, and one of the guys absolutely nailed them. So that was really good. They all came in, they got killed there and then there. And then the other teams that were in the area, we fought with them as well when we came back out. So we spent a bit of time looting in there. I'm just going to fast forward a bit faster. There we go. A bit of shooting now going outside. Some of the guys were getting different people. And at this point, they were like, oh, let's shoot these guys. Let's shoot those guys. And I'm like, no, get in the car. Zone's coming. So you can see here, like, these guys are all concentrating on killing each other. And they're just stuck in zone. And as a point, like, are they just going to keep fighting? Sometimes you just got to leave the fight. Now, this is only second zone, so if they've got a lot of med kits and a lot of stims, they might be able to drive or get out of that and survive. But I wonder if they do. Like, they've got that guy, and then they're going to start moving. I don't know what their health is like. They look like they've stopped for something, like they're maybe searching for stims or a vehicle or something. But they've been in that area for a long time now because they've had that. Oh, that guy did find a car. Okay, so they might make it then. But you're using up time. You're going to arrive at zone late. You're going to have used up a load of stims and stuff. So it is not optimal. Right, so let's go back a little bit. And you can see that we were legging it south into the new zone. And we went into some buildings. A relatively small group of buildings. Because large groups of buildings, like the ones up here, are very popular. And then I decided to do my boat jump. So if you go straight down this road and off this cliff, there's a boat there. I've never done it and there not be a boat there. So I think I managed. There we are, off the cliff into the water. Now one person unfortunately disconnected. I have no idea why, but we did manage to get into the boat, and we did manage to stay ahead of things. Now, there were people on the cliffs that were taking pot shots at us. That was difficult. This area of the coast here I thought would be a good place to go to because I didn't think it'd be that populated. And it wasn't. There was the few odd people about. And while we were there, I was like, hey, look, there's a guy over there. Quick, get him. And shoot him. We got him down eventually. And there's another Lone Ranger over here. People that are left over from squads. Most people are now starting to try and drive around or swim across. That's something I didn't think about, actually. I can see this now, right? Look at all these people here. I don't think these guys are in boats, right? Or at least some of them aren't in boats. So even though we've come up onto the water's edge and the zone's in front of us and the island is full of people, like you've got this squad down here and around there. There's actually less on this side of the island than I thought there would be. I completely forgot about people that were just going to swim up the water behind us. So instead of pushing forward, maybe we should have sat on the edge, just watching our backs. And I think that is actually our downfall in this game. So we've got squads like coming in from every angle. This is like the worst case scenario. You do not want to be like this. We have literally got a team in every way around us. And we're picking them off. So we should have pushed back, stayed on the coast, and allowed these guys to interact with each other and just taken stuff over. So if we were on this coast here and just keeping bunkered down and not pushing forward, we could probably have concentrated on these guys that swam across. And because they were swimming across, we'd have had the advantage of taking them down. And then some of these other people wouldn't have been able to would have interacted with each other rather than us. But we did manage to take a couple of them down before we got surrounded by the remaining people. So the new zone was quite a long distance to go at this point. I think this guy actually took quite a few of us down and might have even finished us off. Yeah, and the zone was coming in as well. So, and there we go. That's the end of our game there. So at this point... Oh, and the zone got him. Oh, no, the zone got the person. Is that what happened? Let's have a look. Let's just go back a bit. So he was in the zone fighting us, and then... oh, a grenade gone. A grenade. Okay, fair enough. And there we go. So, that wasn't with the community, though. So I didn't have the level of communication with the squad that we'd normally have. But there's some kind of thoughts on the movement, the planning, and the reason why I do a lot of things that I do when I am making suggestions to the squad about going along the coast road, about going later in the flight path, and that sort of thing. So, I hope these 2D replays have been interesting. And if you want to know more and see that sort of stuff, then we do have a PUBG channel on the Discord where we can chat about this more. So I will see you there, maybe.